We've already done when you add two graphs together or subtract two graphs. Now we're going to do it where you multiply and divide the two graphs. So I'm on page 336. I got f of x equals x minus 3. G of x is equal to x squared minus 8x add 15. Okay, so the first thing that I want to point out, which I did last week, the domain has to be basically the smallest domain that's offered here. So I have a line and I have a parabola. The domain for both of these is an x and all reals. Okay? To get the range of the combined function, that just comes down to what your second graph is. Okay? So it says determine h of x, which is, f times g of x. So we got to multiply those together. Okay? So basically I have to multiply my two equations together. The easiest way algebraically to do this question is to go x squared minus 8x add 15 over x minus 3. I always stack when I do this. You can do whatever you want. You can multiply the x through, you can multiply the negative 3 through, add them together, whatever. So I'm going to, and I multiply left to right. So I got x cubed minus 8x squared plus 15x minus 3x squared plus 24x minus 45. My graph then is that right there. So what is that graph? What type of function is it? It's a cubic graph, right? So I got x cubed minus 11x squared plus 39x minus 45. I got that right. Okay, so a cubic graph has what is its domain? L to all reals. And what is it for its range? Yeah. So this guy would have a range that is y is greater than or equal to whatever the vertex is, right? Up. This one has a range of y is an element of all reals. This one is also y is an element of all reals. Your range for your product graph comes from these two. Okay? It's just that. All right? There's not a lot of work, like there's plenty of work, but there's not a lot that they're going to do. They're not going to go over the top with these questions with you. The second thing is h of x is equal to f of x over g of x. I think that's what it says here. Yeah. Okay. So to do this graph, it says determine the equation of h of x equals f over g of x. So we want to find that equation. So I go equals to x minus 3 over, what is it, x squared minus 8x plus 15, right? Okay, so if we had this given to us in our last unit, what would we do first? Very good. And get that? I have a factor on top and a factor on the bottom, which means what? Yeah, but what does that tell me I have? Yeah, I have a point of discontinuity at x equals 3, right? Okay, so to then look at this graph of this guy, I've got 1 over x minus 5. So I move this over to here, x minus 5. Got that, and somewhere right about there. I put 3 in here, that gives me 1 over, what is it, negative 2? I think so. So that would be, so this point right here would be, my point of discontinuity is 3 and negative a half. Well, there's something that, I'll give you your test back. There's a number of you, Garrett, you being one, I think Alex and the other, point of discontinuity has to be an actual coordinate. It's not just the x value of it. So you have to find the y value of it. by substituting it into your equation. Okay? I can't remember. I just feel like the two of you, I think, missed that part of it. I'm not sure. Maybe I'm wrong, but I know for sure that you did. So, okay? So there's that whole graph right there of the quotient of this. And again, what's my domain for this graph?
Element of all reals, x cannot equal.
Yeah. And
And x cannot equal 3.
that's right. X is an element of all reals. X can't equal 3 and 5. Right? What's your range for this graph?
Y can equal 0.
Y can't equal 0. Anything else? Negative a half as well. Okay, because that's an open dot point of discontinuity right there. Alright? We okay, everybody? That's the quotient. Okay? I don't really want to do the application of it. I think you can figure that out on your own. I want to go to 10.3 now, composite of functions. We have already begun with composite of functions. I've showed you this already, so I'm just going to refresh your memory from last week. So I have f of x is 4 minus x. G of x is x squared plus x. And the first thing it wants you to do is find f of g of 2. Now, in these composite functions, always start on the inside and work out. Start on your inside and work out. So what's the first thing I need to do?
Choosing for x for the g of x.
Yeah, that's right. So I put it in here, so that becomes 2 squared plus 2, right? So far so good, which gives me 4 plus 2, which is 6. So now I need to find out what f of 6 is then. Put that up there, and I get negative 2. That's composition of functions. Start inside, work to the outside. Very simple. Questions? Just simple substitution. Where it gets harder is if you've got so that's fine. We're just going to leave that. You guys can do that, right? Just substitute in numbers and solve. That's all you have to do. Let's look at the second part. F of x is equal to x minus 3. G of x is equal to the root of x. Like that. Now, it says it wants you to find f of g of x. This is new notation to you. That does not mean multiplication because the dot is open. Alright? Okay, so what this reads as is this. Okay, so far? So g of x, what is g of x? It is root x. And if I put root x in for all my x values, what do I end up with? That.
So there it matters which order it is in?
Yes.
Like
I'm going to show you the opposite right away. Okay? Does everybody follow that? So the notation means the same as this. G of x, all right, was square root x. So I got to substitute f of square root x in for my x here, and I get root x minus 3. Okay? Doing it the other way, that's like saying g of f of x. So g of x minus 3 is take this, substitute it in for x there. So far so good. Not a difficult concept. Does it matter when composing functions? State the domain f of x, g of x, f of g of x, and g of f of x. You gotta state the domain of all these. Okay. What's the domain of this guy? We gotta go back again. What do you think it is? Sorry.
X is greater than or equal to 3.
0.
What is it?
X has to be greater than 0.
Okay. Yeah. Greater than or equal to 0. What about this guy? I'm going to come back to it. What about this guy then?
Greater than 3.
Yeah. Okay. So what's the difference between the two graphs?
One's in whatever one's not.
This one, what am I doing to the root x graph?
Moving.
Yeah. Which way is it actually moving?
It's gonna move down.
Yeah. So that one is this guy, like that. Moves down 3. This guy moves right 3. Fair enough? Okay, those are one of the 5 graphs that we have to know pretty well. Okay. I don't think I need to go through any more of these. Actually, I should look at 349. Okay, so far we have done everything. Now what we got to do is they're going to give you an equation. So like this, h of x equals 3x minus 2, square root of it. And they want you to find 2 equations that I can piece together to get h of x. Okay? So what 2 equations do you see here that could be?
Square root x and 3x minus 2.
Yeah. Okay, so if that's the case then, how do I write that? What is h of x equal to? F of g of x. Yeah. Good job. That's the complicated part of this. Everybody following? That's as tough as it's going to get for you. Okay? Take a look at B. Give me the 2 equations in B. What can f of x equal? $349B. 4B. What's f of x equal?
It's 4, for x subtract 4, x squared plus 3x plus 4.
Yeah. Okay, so now if it says it has to be, if you look in the question, it has to be this way. F of g of x. So what is f of x and what is g of x?
F of x is the x squared plus 3x.
Is it plus 4?
Yeah.
Yeah. And g of x is?
Minus 4.
Good. There's better. Okay, that's it. That's all there is to that. So I've taken you right through 10 again. So you've got 10, 2, 10, 3. Work on that today and tomorrow. I'll answer questions tomorrow on those 2. And we'll be done 10 by Thursday.
Will we have the test this week then?
I think I said I was going to give you an assignment for the weekend for this guy.
So it's
But
like,
we'll probably start 11, maybe even as early as Friday.
okay, so no test then? Or just?
No,
we'll
I don't
just
think so.
exam?
I think I'll just give you an assignment for this one, test on 11, and then let's get right into start prepping for our exam.
Okay.
Hopefully by Tuesday next week or Wednesday next week.
Yeah.
Okay? All right? You guys got all day today to do that then.